Hopefully y'all can see me now. I don't know what I was doing. Okay. I don't know if anything gonna come of this, but I have it on my phone too. If you here, let me know how y'all doing today. Um, so today's topic is about what does it mean male centered actually mean? Like what is I've seen a lot of conversation on like what it means to be male centered. Kind of like want to go into like the how it's layered and it's more complex than sometimes people realize. Let me edit comment here on TikTok real quick. Hey Serene, what's up, Sagittarius? How y'all doing today? How do I get this to turn? Shit. Give me a second, y'all. I just dropped my damn water. Damn. How we get now? I don't know what happened, but we get there. There you go. Pin this again. I'm still getting used to like doing it on the YouTube platform, so y'all be patient with me, please. And I dropped my whole cup of water. I can't be dehydrated. Doesn't work. So this word is androcentrism, which is like the official word. Shout out to Mia for pulling this out. So androcentrism is a psychological term that refers to the practice of prioritizing male perspective, interests, experiences over those of women. Hey, Sharice, how you doing? So a lot of times, like I've heard people talk about, like, what does it mean to decenter men, right? Like, what does that mean? And decentering men is more than just like not focusing on being with a man in a relationship. It's the idea that as a society is normalized to see that the world through the lens like through the male gaze, right? That comes to other men, ourselves, our perspectives. It's the reason why we deal with internalized misogyny, why the reason why misogyny is so rampant. It's because we all share this collective idea will it's like from the male's lens, whether you're a man or a woman, right? And that's what it means to decenter the male perspective and center yourself. Hey y'all. I'm on YouTube. I'm trying to find my comments. I can pin it again. It won't let me. I don't know why. All right, whatever. No, not yet. So again, we're gonna get into what androcentrism essentially. How layered is male-centered behavior? Now there will be some things I won't touch on. Hopefully, some things that you learn is new. But let's go to the first slide. Hey, Crystal, how you doing? Hey, Shamar. All right, y'all. I gotta remember how to do this. How do I change this background? Hold up, y'all talking? Hold, let me turn my phone up. Hello?
Yeah, so you are on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I didn't even hear my phone was turned all the way down.
Okay. All right, I'm about to come over there.
Okay, I put the link in the chat.
Okay, I'm up. All right, let me see.
It's fine. People understand.
All right, because I could co-host with you here and go over there.
It's up to you.
Hey, Lady Q. Hey, y'all. Let me try that. Let me get the Should we go through YouTube or just stay over here? Go through. We need to go to YouTube, but I was saying I'll go on my live and co-host with her to get like more people to know to go to YouTube.
Okay, and also I have the I put the link in the chat for y'all.
Okay, I'm about to. All right.
All right. So here we got 4 different ways. I'm like near it. So 4 different ways that male centeredness essentially shows up, right? One, socialization, religion, down there it says media, and family. So let's take a dark horse. Hold up. Hey, dark horse.
Can you hear me? Hey.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Nature, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, for the StreamYard? I got another thing. I don't know how to share it. Excuse me. All right, there we go. Hey, Drika.
Hey. Okay, so I'm in here. I'm in this thing.
Don't you look cute?
Thank you. You too. Oh, let me get my glasses so I can be like you.
Yeah, I need my glasses.
Hold on, delicious. This is
like
delicious 1 and 2. Let me find some lights.
Let me clear my damn throat, y'all, because I'm sitting here just hacking. Damn.
All right.
I ain't got no studio light. I ain't got no ring light. Y'all gonna get what y'all got.
We'll take it. Because I don't know what the hell going on.
Can they hear us on TikTok?
Oh, you know what? Me, I'm gonna put this other slide back up so you can comment on it. The first one. Hold up.
Okay.
There you go. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm trying to see if I should do the double time for I'm gonna comment on it. Just give me a second because I wanna get I wanna see if I can request the co-host with you on TikTok too.
Okay. Let me know when you're on here.
Okay.
Hey, Lady Karen. What you talking about school? What's up, Ty? What you doing over here? Throwing corn at me.
Not the corn. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go live and then try to request.
I turned the light on. I'm sitting here in the dark. That's crazy.
I might have to turn my volume down. Now, how to request to host? Okay. Tara. You turned your invitation off. That's the problem.
How do I turn it back on?
I think you got to click it.
On TikTok or YouTube? Which one?
On TikTok.
I just sent you an invitation. I ain't did nothing. Oh, that was a good idea. Put it in the circle in the center. Hold up. It's an echo now.
I might need to mute here. Let me mute.
I'm going to turn my phone down because I can hear you.
What about now?
The echo gone for me.
It's gone for me too. But I don't know.
I just turned my phone down. My phone was all the way up.
Okay, so I don't know if they can. They should still be able to hear me even though my mic is down. That's what I'm going to assume. So, all right.
Hey, Summer. Hey,
all right, y'all. Okay. So, all right, y'all. We on the YouTubes. Okay. Me and Tara on YouTube with Dark Horse and Lynn to have this conversation. Hey, Tareen. Tareen, can you hear me?
I don't know, Lady Q.
Okay, so you can't hear me. All right, hey Summer, y'all follow. It's gonna be on Tara YouTube, which is hold on, let me move my dot right here, which is right there.
Hey y'all, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't add an avatar. It's tripping for me, but
it's cool.
Hey Breathless, hey y'all. So we gonna be on the YouTubes at Tara.js having this conversation. And it's gonna
and y'all can change my bad, but y'all can change your name to your handle on here too. Is that echo? I can't hear it because you hear echo. I don't know how to stop the echo.
I don't hear it.
Do you have both the devices turned up?
Let me mute myself on here. Can y'all? Is it better now?
We never heard the echo, but is it gone for you?
I'm asking them because I turned the Y'all still hear it? I just muted myself. Oh, that's dumb. They're not gonna be able to hear me.
Okay, so I see this might be
gone, but can you hear me still? Or because I should be on. I don't know why I got the echo. I don't know what's going on.
It might be too complicated.
No, you can hear. They can probably hear it through yours. It's sorry. It's gonna be a learning curve. What? Ty, get the hell out of here. Thank you, pretty intellectual. Get out of here, Ty. All right. I'm good to go now.
I can't see my.
You don't hear what on YouTube?
Who's in the room here on YouTube?
I don't know.
Oh, the echo. All right, there we go. Listen, if it's Kenya Mars do what? What you talking about? All right, y'all. So again, this the word. Mia did the labor. Androcentrism. Y'all ever heard of this term before? This was new for me. I love how y'all be bringing definitions and shit. All right, thanks for coming over, Pretty. I don't know. I can't do both. I'm trying, Lord.
Yeah, I can't do both. So I'm like, let me focus on one thing and get used to one thing first. All right, y'all. So look, hey Mari, look, y'all. I'm gonna focus on one thing at a time. Go to Terra Live. I can't focus. And plus, I need to see my notes. So okay, so we gonna be on here. So all right, so let's go. But wait, hold on. Y'all start. Let's get it together. Give me a second though. I gotta get my notes. Tara, don't make that face.
I was asking if anybody heard of this term before because this was new for me. I love vocabulary. Vocabulary be helping. Don't nobody want to answer the question. All right.
I've heard it before. I told you on the back end, but I didn't think you weren't talking to me.
I was talking to anybody.
For responses in the chat. I was waiting for the chat to respond.
Anybody respond. Y'all still was talking about, hey everybody, how y'all doing? There we go.
No, I have never heard that term, but it makes sense because it's like, what's that other word? The fear of men. So it's not, you know how men say misandrous, but what's this? Androphobia.
Androphobia.
Yeah, which is the fear of men, which is more accurate to describe what women are now than misandrous.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on the andro prefixes because, like, just knowing that what something called be helping so much because it's easy to find more information on it.
And I think that's interesting looking at it like the fear because the way the men try to correlate misandrous with misogyny is like it's equal. And it's not. It's an imbalance going on where women have this fear that's based on behaviors and situations and things that have happened historically, whereas men have this strong dislike or disdain for women that is based on them needing to be in power and in charge and their need to subjugate women, and because of that, they harm and I don't know if I can say what word over here, so I'm gonna say unalive women. So I think it's a major difference that we need to talk about.
Do y'all think men have androphobia?
Yeah, and
absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that certain men in certain situations, but their behavior is different though. Like if men have androphobia, depending on what the situation is, they're gonna behave differently. They still gonna like violence may still be a solution to their androphobia, and I think that just shows a difference in how men and women operate.
Well, I think when it comes to like the violence thing, right? It's like men are more likely to be able to physically defend themselves, but essentially, like violence in itself is a defense mechanism. So it's like if we were talking earlier about how like a lot of men walk around in survival mode. So like them being violent is indication they're walking around all the time on edge, worried that something can happen to them. me and Lynn was talking about it earlier. So like if men approach to you is essentially I can save you from a man break into a house or another man harm you. If that's his mindset, that means there are men who are walking around constantly on edge that they could be attacked by other men. So like their perspective is different when it comes to that. Because although men can be a threat, it's interesting when we watch some of the videos on like the dudes like we've been watching like the hood videos or whatever, and you see like the men can't stay still, they fidgeting and they constantly like doing a 360 trying to see like what's going on, like severe paranoia. So like I do agree that it shows up differently, but the thing that bothers me is this idea that like you being aggressive or something seen as tough, and when it really is like is weakness, because it's a sense that like you're in a constant fear. Like if you feel like a bear is going to attack you in the woods, they say make your body big and so you can appear intimidating. And you see like that's what they're doing.
I wanted to jump in and say that the most obvious signs of androphobia in men, the ones that they will outwardly agree or confess to, is when their androphobia is being disguised as protection for women. Don't wear that. Don't go there. Don't go out after dark or what have you. That's when they will verbalize it. But yeah, because you're afraid of men and you're afraid of you having to stand up and do something. I feel like the other one, when it's kind of balance based, they'll kind of hide that under ego, kind of being macho. But no, I think it definitely comes out about how you really feel about other men. When you're telling a woman this is protection, no, you're afraid. You're afraid of you. You're because you know who you are. You're afraid of your counterparts out in society. So I think that's the way that it shows up as well.
Yeah, I had seen something like that. Because I was looking at something. Where is it? And yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on. Let me see where I saw it. A lot of times, when it comes to this idea of other men being androphobic, where it also shows up is y'all know what I'm gonna say. In the prison,
Out prison.
in the prison. So or it could be in the street. So it says right here. So because if did we break down what androphobic was? Did we talk about what the definition is? Lynn, did you give the definition of being
No, I didn't give
androphobic
it. I gave a quick definition. Androphobia is basically the fear of men, like being afraid of men,
Okay, so it lists.
nervous, afraid. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna list. I you could give the definition, and I'll list some of the ways they say how.
Well, that's basically the definition. So go ahead and list the way.
Huh. So it says the first one was incarceration and violence. So in prison or on the streets, men may fear other men for reasons related to the violence, dominance, or reputation. So hypermasculinity teaches men to compete or dominate, not trust or collaborate. So that would explain some of the things we see as to why the violence is what it is, because they're competing with each other and they're trying to outman each other. So that's where it can come in at 2, it says male vulnerability. Many men don't trust other men emotionally. I don't know if I believe that. They often open up to women, not to their male friends, because emotional openness with other men is seen as weak. How y'all feel about that? Because that seems like that contradicts what we
No, it's not seen as weak, but they are afraid because when men share their vulnerabilities with other men, they're made fun of. All the things they say that women do, men do it to each other, right? So they're going to turn it on them. They're going to exploit it. They're going to use it. You're going to be the butt of a joke. And if it's not a joke, then they're going to really just throw it in your face and they're going to call you weak. It's usually not the women doing that, but that's what they will tell you. It's kind of the stories when they switch out the man for a woman. And we like, this story sounds like it's probably a man doing it to you, but they say that a woman did it. And we know that because that's how we were raised. And we were all raised that same way, that men don't express their emotions, they hold it in. And it was from a man who was deeply misogynistic, or a woman who has deeply internalized misogyny, telling men and boys to suppress their emotions. So when they do share it, that's going to be the consensus going around, if a person isn't working on unpacking that.
Yeah, and there's another side of that too. It's like I was saying, being tough and aggressive is a weakness. Like it means that you feel like you're fearful, and it's like a defense mechanism. On the flip side, we have this tendency to think of vulnerability as a weakness, but the act of being vulnerable takes strength. It takes you to be like the things you're sharing, to be strong enough to deal with like the criticism that can come from it, putting yourself in a position where somebody has information over you. So like men not being able to be vulnerable or faking vulnerability, essentially, it ties right into their defense mechanism. My throat, goddamn.
Gotta drink some water. I think that's so.
Guzzling this water.
Mm-hmm. So the last thing was men policing men. Men often fear being judged or called soft or gay or weak by other men, so they perform masculinity to avoid ridicule. This creates a culture of fear and emotional suppression between men. But I don't know if that's really I don't think that's androphobia. I think that's more of like what the patriarchy does. But I do think that men fear each other based on the first one with the violence and how they perform. I do think they perform, but I also think when they say men policing men, the way I would look at it is men. I think it would go back to the conversation we having about men centering each other.
So I have when we get to slide five,
Okay.
we're gonna talk about how like it applies to men also.
Okay.
But did y'all want to connect it somehow to androcentrism? So how is it that this fear of other men, how could it lead to people essentially having this male perspective? But would it do you feel like any of it could be fear-based?
Absolutely. That's what we're telling ourselves and others, that if you are afraid, of course, then what you'll do is you're going to find some sort of way to try to get your oppressor less angry, to be more happy, because you don't want that violence to trickle down to you. So if you start to submit or be submissive, or you what is the word? Um, you're soft spoken, all the things that they're saying is going to be pleasing to a man, then I'm trying to be pleasing because it's tied to my safety, right? Whether it's emotional safety, whether it's physical safety, right? Mental safety. You're going to do that because you're saying, hey, this person can be a threat. They can make things very hard for me in a multitude of ways. So yes, if you do center them, right? If you put their interests first, if you do all those things, it's supposed to keep you out of the way. I just think now that we're coming to the point that we're realizing that it's not saving anyone, right? It's not really working the way that we were told that it would. It never did. It was always a conversation. It was never a lived experience. It was a goal that women wanted to say, I can trust that my daughter will be safe if I tell her to do these things for her husband. Keep the house clean. Make sure the meal is hot. Always give them sex. Whatever you're telling them, it was a plan for safety, right?
Yeah, essentially. And I think it's important to see it that way also. Not that like because a lot of times it's like, oh, you just want to compete, you feel insecure or whatever. Like, no, it's a lot of it is driven from safety. And the reason why we have these like gender roles we push to children, because we're thinking about, well, will they make it in the future? Will they be able to survive? Will they be able to adapt? Will they be okay? So a lot of it does depend on survival. Anybody else want to comment on this one? I'm gonna change the background.
No, I agree with y'all. I think that no, I'm gonna just say I agree with y'all. I don't really have nothing more because I think y'all hit all the points with that one.
All right, so this slide is about like just addressing like where does it come from, right? Because it's like if you want to be like one part of the process deconstructing like this male-centered view of looking at things, like where does it come from? I think that's the most important. So one is like the socialization, right? So we're socialized to believe these things. It's like if you have views that go outside of the group, you're meant to like you're made to feel like the outsider, the outcast. You won't be accepted by the group. This is why change in society can be so hard for individuals because like there's a certain level of isolation you have to deal with. There's a certain level of like you're basically being abandoned by your community, not feeling that protection that you felt before. But in a lot of ways in our everyday language, we reinforce these ideals of what it means to be male centered, even if we're not addressing it as there. Anybody want to comment on this one?
Yeah, I think that's to me when I was looking at some of the things with like the performance or like anytime we talk about this idea of hegemony masculinity or what the patriarchy is, it's all about them performing and they are policing other men for their performance, but they're also protecting other men because the idea of being a man is so fragile that it takes all hands on deck. So there is this constant teaching or this constant saying, hey, we got to do this and that, or we got to make sure the boys are doing the boys thing. And it's like I don't know how else to explain it other than it's this, I don't know how else to explain it. Y'all might have to help me out. But we see it all the time. We see where these men are performing this idea, but they're also helping and aiding other men in performing and protecting them. It's like it's this constant thing that's happening. So I don't know. I saw something, and let me see if I can find it real quick that might have explained it better. But I agree with you. I seen something. I don't know, but go ahead, y'all. Go ahead.
When you talk about like the boys or whatever, we do have certain behaviors that we like. It's so normalized, people probably don't even realize it is a type of conditioning. Like we expect certain behaviors from boys and girls to the point where we don't even question it. So like, yeah, you see a boy like holding back his emotions and being more stoic, you may not think much of it. If you see like girls and boys just like naturally separating each other from each other, you might think, oh, this is just a normal thing. You're not thinking much of it, right? This idea that like because like gender in itself, this gender binary that we have is a social concept. So if it's a cultural concept, we have to understand that the differences we see in children, because the early age is making a big impact, isn't because of some biological factor. It's literally the nuance, like even subtle ways that children are like learning what that gender is and the behaviors allowed around it.
It starts early too. It starts like even when they're babies.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I seen, and I still can't find, because it was specifically talking about kids, because this other stuff is talking about once they get like once they're like in a work setting. But anyway, it's this dude that I know, they just had a baby boy. He had 2 girls and now he finally got a boy, and he's already preparing him for this idea that he has of what being a boy is or what being a man is. Like he's already thinking that they're going to be outside fishing and doing all these things. And it's like, how is it start? This baby was just born a couple of days ago. How is this already something? You're already isolating him and separating him from what his sisters are. And it's like, it's going to be just a natural thing where he's going to naturally be getting toys. He's going to be naturally told that it's okay for him to be fighting and messing with his sisters. Maybe it's going to be this natural thing that he's supposed to take the trash out. Like it's not natural, but that's where they're already molding him to do certain things. And he's like a few days old, and it's going to be like, but they're going to put it like it's this natural thing. Like, oh, he's just all boy. But it's like, no, you're already preparing him to be this certain thing very early on. And it's very rigid. It doesn't give him any room to be nothing. It doesn't give him any room to explore maybe being an academic, or maybe him being into creating things or fixing, or not fixing things, but he might be wanting to do something with clothes, and they're not giving any room for that type of creativity. They're already planning for him to be outside getting in mud, and it's like he's a baby, so it starts very, very early. I
So how do
see it
you,
starts very early.
so and when it comes to male centeredness, of course, it's with boys, but how will also girls being socialized?
To cater to the boys, because like they're like him being a baby is about to be hell for those girls. Like they're obsessing over and centering. Hey, Lynn, they're obsessing
Yeah.
over and centering him. So already, which is it makes sense because he's a baby, but the girls are going to be in a motherly role to him,
Well,
which
I was
they
going
would
to
have been
say
even
too
if they
that,
was younger. But they're going to be in a motherly role. I can see that now.
yeah, so an example for that one would be I had to wait for a boy to come along to have someone to go fishing with. It should have been now your brother can go fishing with us because you've already
Mhm.
taken the girls fishing. So I understand that parents have hobbies, things that they like that they want to share with their children because that's just what they love to do. And the kids, they ain't got no money, they ain't got no car, they got to go, right? But you take them all, you take everyone. But what I normally will see is that things that are leisure and fun that are normally a male dominated activity, they don't share that with the girls. If it's something about a girl maybe protecting herself, well, I taught my girls, I put them in classes so they know how to defend themselves, or I taught them how to shoot. That's it. But the things that you enjoy and you love doing, you're not sharing those with your girls. You're not doing that. And that's where the division comes, right? You still push her to everything as far as her interests and hobbies. You still push her to woman dominated hobbies and interests. You're not going to let her be a part of what you enjoy. And what does that mean for her? You're already starting the division. That's where the division starts with your bond with her. So if she sees that her role is like her mother and it's servitude, and that's what she's going to think when it comes to men. It's about servitude. I don't get to do things with you because and you're a man that you enjoy. I don't get to do that. I have to do things over here. So the division starts early and then it breeds resentment too between the siblings, right?
Yeah.
Because the girls are like, I want to do something with my dad that he loves. I like to hang out and do that too. I don't want to just do things when it comes to serving dad, or he goes, you guys are pretty, you look good, or what have you, get a couple of compliments to go off. She wants to bond with you. But they're making that division early and it affects the siblings and it affects the parent child relationship as well.
Yep. I
I
agree.
say that's where the adultification of young girls starts as well. Because like you were saying, Dark Horse, it with men, with boys, they get to have more fun and more freeing things to do that as it relates to manhood, right? Like, oh, we're gonna go fishing, we're gonna do this, we're gonna have bonding time. But when it comes to girls, it they give them more responsible tasks to do with gender roles. Like, oh, you gotta cook, you gotta clean, you gotta take care of a younger sibling. So one, they're being adultified, and to me to me that's where, women learn to start people pleasing as well, because you got to be the caretaker, and that leads back to male centeredness as well. Like, it leads back to the topic of women being male centered, because if you all your life, since you were a young girl, you're given a baby doll, you're taught your role in the house is to cook, is to clean, is to take care of a sibling. You are then told that a woman is supposed to be in service of everybody else, not doing tasks when it comes to womanhood or being a girl that are fun and freeing and more in touch with things like creativity and things like that, which would be more accurate.
But the boy might also be into that, and it might not look like being feminine in this. And I think the fear that men have this fear that if my boy is into academics or being more creative and thinking about things outside the box and wanting to explore something other than sports and outdoor manly activities, that means that it's going to take away from him being a man, and we will not they don't know that, right? But I also think that you're taking you pushing this idea of what a man is and this rigid role of being a man and what it's supposed to look like in this the bondage that performing manhood in the way that the patriarchy wants you to perform it, where you don't have any emotions and you're stuck in this identity that might not be yours. It restricts this child who might be something else, who might not be what you are imagining your child be. You're imagining your child to be this mini version of you and be able to mimic your manhood, but this child may be something else, and you're going to cause harm in that way too. If your child, what if your child don't want to do none of that and they want to wear nails and I don't know, a dress, or pink is their favorite color? You restrict your child from being their individual self because you want them to perform like you perform. And I think that's what manhood has always been about, you being able to perform and making sure that your offspring perform their roles like they're supposed to. And that's weird to me.
I also think it's interesting because, like, back to what I was saying about the binary, right? Girls and boys, the reason why we have this binary, because essentially is a way of guaranteeing that everybody ends up with each other, right? That's how the plan is. Certain skills that girls have, and you fulfill your purpose in life by having a husband, by becoming a mother, because you've been trained to be this your whole life. So that's when you said it's like connected to the male centeredness. Yeah, you have to be male centered. And the part we want to touch on later, essentially, is like for the boys, they also are male centered, right? But in order to fulfill that role of being a man, they have to obtain a wife. They have to have children. So it's like this whole binary is to make essentially a population of people so codependent on each other. Eventually, they want to find each other to fulfill these blanket roles that was like basically given to them from a very young age.
Mm-hmm. Which still allows the man to get to explore things or get to enjoy life in a different way, because like Lynn and Dark Horse was saying, it's a whole lot funner to go fishing than it would be washing dishes. So and all you gotta do is take the trash out on your way out to go fishing with dad, while I'm stuck here getting a Sunday meal together, because that's what the performance, that's what the cookie cutter mom, dad, kids supposed to look like. No, I'm sure most kids would prefer to not have to do that. So that's another part of it. It still puts the identity of a man, regardless of how rigid it is, it still puts it in the center and it puts it on a pedestal.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I
go
was
ahead, Larry.
talking more so as far as like, because Mia, it seems like you're leaning more to towards male centeredness when it comes to like little boys, but I feel like for women, that's for women and girls, it where it starts in the male centeredness of it all. It
Mm-hmm.
starts in women, I mean girls and women prioritizing other people over themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because essentially, like if we look at like if someone were to ask y'all, how do I'm male centered, what's one of the things that I can do to like get out of that? One of the things that I would say, and I think y'all would say as well, was okay, you have to center yourself. But at a young age, women are taught to be people pleasers. We're taught to have, you know how they say, fight, flight, and fawn.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught to fawn.
Yeah.
We're taught to, what do they tell us? Be nurturing. Nurturing doesn't mean to nurture yourself. When people say, "Oh, you women should be nurturing," they're not talking about being nurturing to yourself, which is what I think that we should teach young girls first and foremost. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure if you are uncomfortable, you explain to someone, "I'm uncomfortable in this situation," whether or not that person will be uncomfortable in you saying that, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes as women, we will be uncomfortable in order to make other people comfortable. And I say that a lot. Like, make sure that you center how you feel first. And then, no, you don't have to hurt someone and making sure that you feel safe and comfortable and okay. But always center your feelings first, because we as women, we were taught at a very young age to swallow our feelings, to be the good girl, to be nice, don't be rude, make sure everybody else is okay with what you're saying. And we're taught to overly apologize. You know how women be apologizing for stupid stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like you talking to somebody, oh, uh, I'm sorry if you sneeze, or like, oh, I'm sorry to ask you this, but can I come over because I need to, like, why are you sorry for everything? You get what I'm saying?
Yep, and it say that right here. It says male centeredness distorts reality by making women feel like the other rather than equal and autonomous human beings. It teaches women to shrink themselves, center male validation, suppress their needs, excuse male harm, compete for male approval. But also, and that's just some of the stuff. It's just interesting when you were saying it, but you said a lot more. I think when you talk about the apology thing, because I remember Terry used to always say, "Don't apologize." I just thought about so many scenarios where women are like apologizing and like really like it's like when we talk about code switching as being black folk going into corporate America, a certain situation, we put our corporate voice on and we code switch. We have to code switch when we dealing with men too. We have to like soften ourselves and like we really do like it's like we're like oh my like I just cannot and it's interesting because I never thought of it like that, but I have so many things just flush through my brain like oh yeah, I've done that in so many scenarios, but not just with men, of course, with anybody, but it's
Yeah,
because
but
of how we center men and making them comfortable because men aren't comfortable with loud boisterous women who know what they want and know what they're talking about and like asserting themselves. They want you, they get offended when you're like that, so they want you to be meek and timid. So yeah.
yeah, they're used to us being that way, meek and timid, and they're, if all your life as a woman you were taught that womanhood is to be subservient, soft, nice. Men are hearing the same thing. They're indoctrinated to believe the same thing. So when you do approach a woman and you make her uncomfortable, and that woman expresses how uncomfortable she is in a form of like agitation, like I'm agitated, get the fuck up out my face. You know what I'm saying? You trying to talk to me and I'm having a bad day. I'm running late for work. I didn't get no gas on the way to work. I haven't ate all morning. It's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And like, I'm trying to pump my gas and I done dropped something and broke something. Like, my kids getting on my damn nerves. And then here you come up to me and you like, oh, what's up, little mama? Like, can I get your number?
I
And
ain't saying
it's
that.
like, my response quite naturally is going to be like, can you get, no, no, I don't feel like it. I'm agitated. Like I'm having a bad day. But one, you can't have that response because it's not ladylike, right? Two, you can't have that response because you're afraid. You
Mhm.
literally in that moment, and I know y'all all have been here, like you in that moment have to swallow everything that you're going through. Like I've caught myself like literally having a like take a deep breath. No, I'm sorry. I have a boyfriend. You
You
can't even say no, I'm not interested in you, or no, I don't like the
No,
way you approached me. You have to, no, I'm not dating right now. No, I'm
No, you
married. I'm
literally have to put a
sorry.
man in it. Like putting a man in it,
Correct.
the only thing that might spare you.
no, they got 7 rebuttals for that. You can't have no friends. What kind of man you got? You don't talk to nobody else. Blah blah blah.
No, you got to say he coming. He about to be here. And you have to up it when they try to do the extra. You got to up it and say, "Oh, he's." If you're in a grocery store, like, "Oh, he's on the other aisle." Like you have to up it. But you're right. They do have rebuttals, but
Yeah, like you, so women can't be human beings in essence. Like we are taught to be the perfect fantasy. And we act upon that every day. And that's male centered. Like we are taught to be the fantasy woman. Like literally like that girl from TikTok, just a girl, she's pretending, she's acting like she can't be human. To be woman, to be a woman who is accepted in this society and exists under societal norms is to be robotic.
Correct.
Y'all see?
We
Yeah,
call
it's
it
actually
performing happiness.
no wait.
No, that's all I said. It's called performing happiness.
Yeah, because emphasize femininity is still performance, and it all comes down to conformity. Um, so some other topics like the religion of it. Whether you're religious or not or whatever, like in the religion, the way that the doctrines are even interpreted, is like it reinforces this hierarchy in the home what women are not supposed to do. And essentially it's like as a woman, your survival in the world is tied to having a man. Which also makes women more male centered because it's like, well, if and we think of the times before women could own property and have their own bank accounts, like literally you could not survive without having access to a man. Like it impacts your livelihood. So it's like even now today we see, even though that's not the case, even now some women are worried about like what others may think of them. And truly think that their value does come from a man. So like when you add a doctrine on top of that and say, well, the hierarchy of the home is the man at the head, it's like I've heard people say, well, if it's not a man there, it can't be a family, which is crazy. Like your family is your family regardless. But this idea that like this, you need this to be complete. It makes women feel like without the man, they're missing something. Um, Another one was obedience is a big one. There's a lot of like compliance of what women are supposed to do in this whole conversation of submission. As a black woman, saying submission and expectation is highly offensive. Like that's crazy. Did y'all want to comment on the religious aspect of it at all?
I mean, yeah, I think we know that the men preach, they lead the church. They make all the decisions while the women praise them. Literally it's like the preacher is getting praised and getting all of these accolades, even though the women are doing a lot of the footwork, a lot of the balancing of everything, making stuff happen, making stuff work. So to me, that's a clear indicator. And the man likes to be the center. He likes to get that attention. So that's one thing. And the women are supposed to be silently doing this though. Like that's why the scriptures say that women ain't supposed to be preaching. Certain preachers don't push this narrative, but a lot of preachers do. They want women in these subservient roles. What does it says? And then they always push for the scriptures that's supposed to tell the women that they're supposed to be obedient to their husbands. Tell the women that they are not, they don't say it outright, but you understand that the idea is that your value is in having a man, which you kind of just touched on here. So yeah, it's so many, to me it's so many things that just are blatant, but that's just some of the stuff I was thinking about.
Have y'all seen that video of that preacher who it's actually a YT preacher, and he was preaching like, oh, if you are a woman and your husband beats you and you call the police on him, like basically you're a bad woman. And I'm and he said some other horrible things too, but I just think it's funny that women have to go along with religion when it comes to the hierarchy, right? The God, man, woman, and kids, but men aren't to follow along with any of the other doctrine as it pertains to religion. So I'm supposed to be following you, and you don't even follow God. Like you don't even follow the hierarchy. But I better make sure that I fall along with the hierarchy. Like I better make sure that you are the head of the household. You are the center. I give you your plate first because you the man. But you're not doing anything else. Like you're not abiding by the rules that you're setting for me. And I don't know why women are not awake to this or they're okay with this, but a part of unpacking my male centeredness and unpacking male centeredness is I want to be like you. So if you are okay with not following along with this, why would I do it? Like I'm not a dummy. Like I'm not a dummy. You don't follow the rules, but I better follow the rules. I'm not your child. Um, and oftentimes women do fall into this, like, it's funny because when we're young, we're adultified, and then when we get older, we're kind of like infantilized. Like you get married and all of a sudden you gotta obey, like you said, Tara, your husband as if he your daddy. So like you don't follow the rules, I gotta follow the rules. I gotta do as you say, not as you do. No, I want to do as you do too.
That was the bar. And I wanted to say too that the reason for me that religion is so insidious is because it will actually allow women to uphold certain, standard requirements, whatever you want to call it, but it'll let them uphold an idea of being married and the man doesn't matter. I'm married to God. I made this commitment to God. So it is even more insidious because it removes even more responsibility off of the man because she's saying, I made this covenant with the Lord. So that I don't care if he out there cheating, doing what he gonna do. I'm gonna keep my promise to the Lord. It is insidious. It is insidious. It is very, very nasty work because when you put it on a higher being and what have you, that was supposed to be a relationship you cultivated with this higher being before your husband, right? Before you even understood what it was. So you're not breaking your relationship with the Lord, right? You're going to follow and walk this walk because it's tied to your own salvation. So you're not going to jeopardize your salvation and go to hell by breaking the covenant because your husband's doing something wrong. It is insidious, the layers that it's going through and the way that it can absolve men, because now you put it that this covenant is a three-person, covenant, me, my husband, and the Lord. So I got to keep my part with the Lord. If he F up, that's on him. It is crazy work, y'all. It is the most insidious of the four, I
But it
believe,
also
that are on the background.
it
Oh,
also
go
allows.
ahead, Mia.
No, you can go ahead, Lynn.
No, I was gonna say the whole aspect of religion in general is male like worshiping a man is freaking. Like I am taught from a child to worship a man. I can't worship no man. It's just no. God gotta be non-binary because what I look like no. That's all I want to say.
And I also think that what Dark Horse is saying is to also have the women in competition with each other who can be the best wife, right? And the Bible backs it up. The Bible does this fake rewarding of women who suffer through so much, and the reward is, I guess, heaven. But it also excuses and it helps men excuse their behavior. That's what I was saying earlier. It's like there's a policing that happens with men because of the idea of man being so fragile. There's this policing that happens, and that is a constant thing. It's about dominance. It's about them. They be picking out the weak, but it's also a protection that happens. It's always gonna be circular. It's always gonna be weird, but there's a protection that happens. And when you think about like what the Bible does, the Bible holds them to strict rules that they can kind of follow and make sure they're following it, and they can like bring it up and refer to it. But it also protects them because there's scriptures that's going to say, if your man, it's basically saying if your man cheats, so what? You gotta stay because you can't be no Jezebel. You can't be no loose woman. Your value is in that man, and at least you got a man. It's better to have a man. So it's this. The Bible pushes for this male superiority and this and for you to dismiss your own desires, your health, your sanity to be with the man, because the Bible does say forgive Paul and Saul and all. Like it's there. So yeah.
Well, let's not forget the doctrines were written by men. So
Mm-hmm.
just saying. I feel like we already touched on family. I wanted to speak on like the media aspect of it. One of the tropes is being like the guy that gets the girl. Essentially, is like you see this a lot in like superhero movies where like he goes through this story arc, and part of his arc is like there's the girl, he's gonna win her over, and essentially like women in this aspect are learning this idea that hey, if this guy is consistent enough, right? If he's doing all the things, I'm supposed to give him a chance. Again, another way that like women don't prioritize what they want. You may just flat out just not like that dude, and you don't have to waste your time like dating him. And for me, it's like this idea that like it has to be just a what is it called? A bottle. Damn. Monogamous.
Monogamous? Oh,
Monogamous.
monogamous.
Lord, too many words. A monogamous relationship, and essentially like there are a lot of ways that relationships can show up. And the interesting thing of being online and talking to people in different places from around the world is seeing like how this narrative to like get more people to be on the same page about things. And the reality is like out in the world, there's so much diversity in it. Or that like you again, you don't necessarily need to be in that relationship. It's okay to be like, no, I'm good. Like leave me the hell alone. And it's interesting how like some of the toxic behaviors we see when it comes to like the jealousy, the harassment, the nagging, like so much of that is reinforced in movies as it's like it's okay, like it's fine to do it. Like it's supposed to be cute in the movie when the guy's chasing after this woman and like he's stalking her essentially. He's sending all these gifts and she already turned him down. He's not respecting her boundaries. And through the media, women are like this behavior is being normalized again because like you're so centered. You have to understand these movies, these scripts are written by men. You're not thinking about for yourself. This is not okay. And this is why the collective conversation is so important.
It's like the TV show You. That's a prime example. Like they normalize them that psychotic man being like, oh, he's persistent. Like, isn't this beautiful? And we see it in, even that's an extreme version, but you're right, in all types of movies, it's this like they not only do they want to make it seem like the stalking and the harassing is normal, but they also want the worst of the worst type of man, the most weirdest, unsocial.
It's the good guy trope.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why do in every movie a woman she like in every movie it doesn't fail. There's two types of guys. There and they paint men like this, like, and I don't understand for the life of me why men don't have a problem with this, but okay. They say that women live in this fairy tale, but I think that they live in the fairy tale. I know they do just as well because media is media and it's being pushed on us. It's sometimes being pushed on you for a long time. You're going to start internalizing that, right? So there's the good guy who always wins the girl and he has to be broke and he has to be like dusty and he has to be like, you know, uh, going through this uphill battle. He's like trudging through adversity. And like then there's the like handsome like social guy who has money more times than not, right? And he has to be the bad guy. Oh, he's gonna do the woman so wrong. And at first the woman's gonna be dating him and she's living a good life and she has money with him and security. But then the good guy comes in and then the good guy who is poor and going through some adversity and becoming a man, right? Becoming this man who this man already is, but he has the nature of being the good guy. He comes along and he wins over that woman because at the end of the day, the woman realizes it's better to be with the poor, destitute, struggle man than the rich, mean man. And men will project this on women. Men say, like, oh, men with money are harmful. Like men with money are not good men. Like in their head, they've bought into the like struggle theory. Like a man who is struggling, equals good. That's the good guy. And they'll play the role of the good guy and they'll fight to be the good guy, but they're not actually the good guy. Like they're like, you don't see me. I'm fighting to become this better version of the man that I should be, and you should give me a chance. Because that's
But
what
that's
media has
the
been
love
saying.
currency. The media sells that love is the currency, right? So they'll tell you that rich man doesn't love you. The currency that you should put on the highest pedestal is something that we cannot tangibly use, which is love. Doesn't buy you shit, right? But that's what they will sell. So the broke guy or the guy that the opposite in this story, all those adjectives that you use, he's selling love as a currency. And he's telling you someone like that can't love you at all. This is what you need or what have you. And like I said, you can't monetize off of love. You can't. You don't get a check every time he says I love you. None of that, right? So that's something that they'll use, and it's also something you can't prove, right? I can't actually prove it. You can say you love me today, and then you can say you don't love me tomorrow. There was no money exchanged, right? But it's a way to extract your labor, and they know that. So that's why it's the poor man's currency to use that, because he doesn't actually have to do anything. He doesn't have to invest. There doesn't have to be any action behind it, and it's a game of words. When they both don't love you, one just has money, one just doesn't, right? So excuse me, one has money and when the other one doesn't. So that's what you're fighting against right there. One has just used a free currency to try to get your attention because he doesn't have the other things. Because if he had the money, he'd use it too. He'd do the same thing. So that's it.
Yep. But then they defend the rich man. That's what's crazy. They love a rich man. They defend rich men. If you say something about a rich man, they got every excuse in the book. So it is ironic that when they paint these stories to us, it's like, no, you need to do the love is a currency, not the money. But for them, they obsess over rich men, especially athletes.
Yeah, they love rich men. The idea that the rich man is evil until I become him. Because like that's the interesting part. And that's there for the men who can't, because like capitalism isn't made to favor everybody. So the ones who can't keep up, they still need a narrative to go off of. I'm gonna go to the next slide.
All right.
All right. I apologize, y'all. I needed a snack, but this one is a big one for me. Lord. So the illusion of empowerment. So like this is more like the journey of like understanding how being male centered is and how it can look in certain places and you may not recognize it. It's important to know exactly for your own importance of knowing what it is and how it can show up in other places. The first one is this pick me feminism and then the false empowerment. This one I have been struggling with like so bad because it's been a situation where like when I first came to like TikTok talking about like how I just gave women grace and I'm like, okay, like this is like a women building community. But I've learned that like even in these feminist spaces, there are too many women who are not in those spaces for the betterment of the women and like women experiences. They're literally like cosplaying feminism in order to like still get male validation. Like even in those spaces, and I'm pretty sure y'all know what I'm talking about. You have women who are comparing themselves to other women. Like I'm a feminist, but I'm not that type of feminist, right? I can still respect men. I still can talk to you in a respectful way and all this stuff. Like it's real performative. It's real like looking for the male validation. And it can be a bit discouraging because you in these spaces is like, well, what the hell going on? And you end up second guessing yourself. That's why I said when I say men, generally I'm lumping everybody in together. I'm talking about the men who put men on the pedestal, but also women who are so male centered that they put men on the pedestal. What y'all think about this one?
I've been talking about this one. So I agree. I think that to me, when you say cosplaying, or putting on feminism as a costume, or it's a performance, which is what male centeredness fosters. Of course, women who are centering men so hard are going to be performing anything that they do in the same way that men perform what manhood is. I believe that a lot of women who participate in this performative type of feminism, where they technically secretly still want the validation of men, is because they cannot do the traditional role. That's what I think. I think it's because they want to, for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they know a little too much. Maybe because they think they're gonna find a unicorn. Maybe because they feel like they're aged out. Like, I'm not saying these are factual things. I'm saying that the individual is thinking this way, and they wanted community, and feminism has a community, so they joined it to be comforted, and to have relationships or people to help them lick their wounds. But in my opinion, they want to have access to men, and that's why you will see them in certain spaces saying, hey, I can talk to these men, I can convince these men, I can be respectful to them, so that I'm not, I don't want to disrespect them, because they might come around. Like, maybe a unicorn is in this pool of men that we're talking to. So of course I need to be very nice to them and soft spoken. And that's because that's what they want. They still want access to men. And that's why you be hearing them whispering and talking softly, and don't talk to them like that. Don't call him a bitch. And it's because they still put men in this on this pedestal of their godlike beings, and you have to respect them. You have to treat them a certain type of way, or else. And that's the problem. That's just how I feel about it. I know y'all might not agree with me thinking that they really want to be traditional, but I think they really want to be traditional, and they just can't.
And this is also a good space to hide, right? I'm going to use TikTok as an example. But you can go to Messy Talk and you say something crazy, they gonna eat your ass up. They gonna eat your ass up and drag you for filth and not let up and start back tomorrow, right? So a lot will come to hide in feminism lives or spaces or groups because they're supposed to be what? Untouchable. I'm a woman. You can't say that to me. You can't talk to me that certain way. I can be over here and do what I want because you're supposed to be woman centered, right? You're supposed to be the girl's girl. So I can say and do what I want in this feminine space. If I go over there to the men's, they're gonna drag me. If I go to women who claim not to be feminists, they're gonna drag me. So I came over here because you ain't supposed to be clocking me on my shit. You're supposed to be so focused on it's all women until it's no. It's all of us always together. That's the place you want to hide out, right? And do your thing, do your big one, or be harmful, whatever it is, but it goes unchecked. So I think that's another thing too, where you can go and you're not supposed to be questioned because, oh, we revere all women. We don't question women. She's allowed to do whatever. Because that's what we're really preaching, right? You're a woman. You don't have to fit into this mold. You can do whatever you want. And sometimes that is being understood as you can be harmful, and it's not the same thing. We're saying break out of norms, create your own narrative, walk your own walk, determine your own path. And what that looks like to some is I'll say and do anything to another woman, and she can't check me over here because we're girls. That's it.
And I mean,
I
that's
think it,
also. Go ahead. I'll finish it all. Go ahead.
I was eating a chip. I think it I think it's a safety net. Like, I think feminism for some reason is for some women, sorry, is a safety net. It's like a chastity belt. Like, they, instead of, how earlier we was talking, I was like, some men will do anything except go to therapy. Some women will turn to feminism instead of going to therapy. Like, instead of figuring out your male centeredness and unpacking what that looks like for you and where it came from and what you need to do to in order to get yourself back centered to yourself, like, Do I need to work on my confidence? Do I need to work on my goals? Do I need to work on, things that are going to make me stop the competition with women? In order for me not to take a look at myself, I can dive into feminism, because then I can blame men and not be questioned in this space. Like,
Mm,
I'm not going to be questioned in this space for blaming men. And I'm
Mm.
also not going to have to take a look at myself. I'm
mm,
not gonna I
Ooh, that
Instead
was
of
a
taking a
bar.
look at myself, I can just put the blame on men and hush all and kind of like shut out the noise of, damn, could it be me? And feminism, especially when it comes to TikTok, allows for women to not look at the areas that are causing them to be male centered and harmful to other women. Because part of the definition of pick meism that we abide by is women who are harmful to other women. um as long as I'm blaming man, it's okay for me to be harmful to other women. But no, you're still a pick me. You're just, there's a mask up right now. It's almost like imposter syndrome, if that's the correct word. But like, you're putting on this identity in order to run from like self realization. And I think that that's problematic. I would rather you be a pick me outright, because disguising yourself as feminist is more dangerous than like, I mean, basically, you are a pick me. It's dangerous. You're just like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. Like, you still adjusting yourself for male comfort because, like, you mentioned TikTok, right? So if we look at TikTok live when it comes to talk about feminism in itself, the fact that some of the biggest if people getting engagement are men in that space kind of highlights how bad this issue can be. Because it's like one thing we've been talking about is like women not getting the same amount of support from other women that men are able to come in this space and get from women, right? And that's because in a to be honest, I'm not seeing men are not going to challenge your male centeredness like that, because a lot of times when I look in these spaces, men are essentially just like arguing with other men, doing what men do, trying to over dominate other men so that they're the better man. But women are essentially like, you're not going to be unpacking certain things in those spaces, right? It's just kind of reinforcing the narrative that's kind of been recycled. But like, if you want to be in a space that's going to be uncomfortable, to get criticism that like that makes you grow and like put your ego in an uncomfortable space where like you got to look at yourself in a different way, like you're not going to get that in male spaces. It just is not something you want to get, because a lot of times men in these spaces are so busy performing and trying to uphold that mask that like how can you ever take yours off, right? And that takes us to the like essentially you still have this idea in your mind, you finding this good man versus looking for yourself. That good man could be a relationship, that good man could be a man who you idolize on the internet, but essentially like it's still you're leaning right back into this male validation. I think it's interesting that we see the participation in the church going down when it comes to women, black women specifically, but then we see the same parallels show up when you have the pastor online essentially feeding this information to women. And that's problematic because like, and I've said this before, if you down in the comments and you just listening to people, that's entertainment. You're not actually doing the work. Doing the work is being uncomfortable for somebody to check you. And you're like, hold up, I was wrong about that. Like taking some time and criticizing yourself. Can you get to the point where like somebody don't have to tell you something's fucked up? You're like, hold up, I need to look at this. If something's you curious about something you don't know about it, you admit to it. You go get information so you add into the conversation. Are you valuing like this collective space amongst women? Or are you just here for a good time? And I think that's essential.
But
Yeah, I
you
just
left
want.
something
Oh, go
out.
ahead.
I'm sorry. Um, they're not looking for only men. They're looking for like that attitude. Because what about Princella? Those
Yeah.
women are under over there, and they think it's okay to be beat down on, talk crazy to, because it's a woman who's operating in misogyny. like it's okay. And again, a wolf in sheep's clothing, because she started off one way and now she's totally like, it's like abusive. It's like an abusive relationship that her followers have, because they're like, no, she's right. And they've already taken their shoes off, they got a throw blanket, they comfortable in her home, and now she telling them that they ain't worth a damn, they ain't shit, and they okay with it.
Yeah, I was gonna just piggyback. I think you guys said it. I was gonna expand a little bit more about this image that these men who claim to be feminists or claim to be supporting women, they don't they don't preach decentering men, right? Because then they would have to get off the platform. I'm gonna tell you, decenter men, they're just essentially telling you to choose better. Want to keep bringing up person after person after person on the panel so I can show you, hey, this is what the problem is right here. Don't date this, don't date this. So you essentially keep saying, I'm going to show you what the problematic man looks like. There's no space there to empower women. They're not saying choose yourself. They're not saying focus on you. It's just example after example after example of harmful people. Mostly and mainly men, but like you said, Princella too. But they're giving you examples of, hey, this person right here is wrong. And you're saying they choose this person. I'm telling you to choose someone who's not this person, but you're still promoting this relationship. You're still promoting that. And that's the male centeredness. You still haven't turned the focus back on yourself, like you said, Lynn. So until that happens, you're going to be in that male centered space, no matter what it looks like, whether it's outright pick meism or you supporting someone who claims to be, a feminist and he's working on himself and he's deconstructing or what have you. That's still a male centered ideal. That's it.
Drinker, did you want to say something?
No, I agree. I mean, y'all said it all. I just think I'm processing what Lynn has said about them, some people using feminism as a way to like air their grievances without having to do any work. That kind of stuck with me. That's something that needs to be tracked a little bit. But of course I agree with the other stuff, like the Princella thing is interesting because I just seen her, and it is like her shifting her message to going back to bashing and dogging women out is an age-old thing that men have always done, and men being able to benefit off of saying things that women have said is just diabolical. And they get to benefit, they get to that, like all the feminists will run to the quote unquote male feminists or male allies and support them in ways that they just do not support. They follow the rules, they give money, they support the cause, and all of that is male centeredness. So yeah, I mean, y'all just hit all the nails on the head for me.
It's interesting thinking about like when Mr. Blanco was talking about one of the issues with trans men essentially being like hyper masculine, and like Princella specifically kind of like lean into like that dom like label. I don't know how she would identify, but that more masculine role, and like seeing that the same traits show up. That's why I say like it does, like when it comes to these issues, like yeah, it's geared towards men, but it's actually not gender specific. Like if you are a woman, you identify as more masculine and you become hyper masculine and harmful to women, then you still a problem. Yeah, it does hurt when people get shot. You gotta get used to it though. Your ego gotta get bruised a few times to heal.
Yeah.
Go to the next slide though, because we're gonna be here all day. Goddamn, we got two more. Is it two?
Put the time on, I asked.
No, we good.
I'm messing with
So I'm gonna just go through this one and y'all can comment. So the cost of being male centered, right, is that you're delaying or banning your personal goals. There's a lot of women who say they wish they should have, could have, would have did something, but they didn't because they were like focused on a man, or like essentially they are in a place in their life where they could be doing something else, but like it's kind of hard to focus on that because like getting a man that takes first priority. Compromising boundaries, essentially like you have these boundaries that you say you set for yourself, but a man comes in and he basically like challenging those boundaries, and you find that you're like kind of going back against it, which is another way that women lose their identity in relationships, right? Staying in toxic spaces out of fear of being undesirable. So like, again, this need to please, this need to be well liked, to be seen in certain places. Like you're not willing to take yourself out of a certain place to remove people from your life because you're so worried about pleasing them. Even at the end of the day, you don't really give a fuck about that person. You all worried about how they perceive you, what kind of leans into like our us working on our own narcissism. And again, ultimately always come down to competing with women for male attention. And that's not always a relationship. It could be at work. It could be a family member. Like essentially you're trying to get this man to see you because you're not actually, again, you're not working through these things. So the behavior is still there. And one thing you need to understand, if you're somebody like that and you know you honestly haven't been working through it, people who have been working through it can see it clearly. It's not even like you can't mask it. That's the interesting thing about it. Y'all want to comment on this one?
Compromising on boundaries. I said I want one kid. Why you on your fourth baby? Delaying or abandoning personal goals. You're actually better at the very thing that your spouse does. Y'all open a business together, and all of the ideas come from you, all the labor, the back end work, the contracts, all those things, you're customer facing, you're doing all that stuff. You're putting yourself in a supportive role and actually taking the L, and getting less because you're letting someone lead and you know you could do it better. That's male centeredness, even to your own detriment. I'm gonna try to keep it short and let them go.
The funny thing to me, because like although we're having this conversation, y'all know, and probably the people listening know that I'm still, dating and I still want to be in a relationship. However, like this list, I'm looking at it and I'm processing it, and it's repellent. Doing this stuff is the quickest way to lose a man and for a man to lose interest in you. So
Hmm.
it has the opposite effect. This doing these things are kind of like a surefire way to have labor extracted for you to be drained, to be used, to be abused, to be a doormat for a man while he goes to the woman and marries the woman. And like, even if you don't marry her, right? Because we seem to think in society, women have bought the idea that if the man marry you, you've won, right? But like, who cares if he marry you if he don't want to be around you, he don't like enjoy your company, he don't have no interest in your hobbies, he don't care what you got going on, he's in competition with you, he don't buy you flowers, he don't think that you're attractive, right?
He hates you,
uh,
right?
he hates you in essence. But his ex-girlfriend, right? He used to buy her flowers once a week. He used to go pick her up and drop her off at her girls' nights with her friends. They formed habits and hobbies together. They went to work out together. He motivated her. He went to cooking class with her because she said she was interested in cooking. So he like, oh, I'm gonna buy these cooking classes. We're gonna learn how to cook together. And like, you know, like who cares if you the wife? She got the best version of them. And like
Hmm.
when you the thing about it is like when when you don't abandon yourself, one, you're better protected because you essentially you won't be easy prey when you don't abandon your personal goals and stuff, because then you won't feel lost when you abandon your personal goals as a woman. you tend to start feeling lost. You tend to start feeling like you're not enough and stuff like that, right? When you compromise on your boundaries, you're weakening yourself. You are turning into the prey, and that's okay. And not only that, but that's not okay. That's not what I meant. But like not only that, but you you're compromising on your boundaries, so you're giving him the okay to go further. So it's like that old saying, if you give a man an inch, he gonna take a mile. Compromising on your boundaries doesn't look like, oh my God, what a wonderful woman. She has these boundaries and she's looking at me as that guy. This woman is wonderful. He's like, no, I'm that dude. I was able to make her lie, or I proved that she was lying about these boundaries. I proved that she made all of this up. I was able to do that. I'm the man, right? And staying in toxic spaces out of fear of being undesirable. I mean, that is what it is, right? Working on being caring what other people think is a surefire way of being not confident and being extremely unattractive, because you are whimsy, you're a pushover, you're going to fall and bend and snap and not have a backbone. And you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to be desirable to whoever, the world, other women and men, and not trying to find yourself and what you find attractive, what you feel makes you feel sexy or confident, or how I can express myself, right? And competing with women for male attention is just lame bitch activity. I don't know. That is my biggest pet peeve. And y'all know I hate competitive women. We can tell. I know you're doing it. Knock it off. Knock it off. It's not cute. Men don't find it attractive. They might lie to you, but in like it's funny because Cartel said this, and like YouTube people don't know who he is, but the people on TikTok. Cartel said this crazy thing when Asaya went live about me at 6 hours. He said he told public, you turn on your own gender in order to like please these women, and that's how I know like you a fake or you a fraud or you ain't shit. Meanwhile, men are okay with women turning on their own gender, and they're really not. They're looking at you like you don't got no backbone. Like I can do anything to you. Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, I rest
No
my
loyalty.
case.
No loyalty.
Correct.
I think what hit me right upside the head was when I think all y'all touched on this about how women sacrifice themselves, or they don't actually do anything to change. And men talk about that. Like, men mock women on their obsession with men, and them willing to do things for men or be there for men, and dog out women and dog out themselves just to say they have a man. Men mock us about that. And it's true. And to hear y'all talking, it's a sad, but it's sad, but it's the truth. Like, um, whenever you are coming into understanding and unpacking this socializing and conditioning, it is about you putting yourself first, and you do have to make a change. Like, you can't just say, oh, men are horrible. You do actually have to, you got to do something. And a lot of women are not ready to have that hard conversation. And it is easier to sell out a gender that is already being sold out, and think that you're gonna be able to get in with the boys, but that's not how it works. They do not respect you, because you don't respect yourself. If you are I think there was a conversation, maybe it was on Franklin Live, where they was like talking about, if your man wanted you to come with them, like leave your friends and come with him, would you require him, or I don't know how y'all got on it, but he should pay for an Uber or make sure they good, make sure they get home safe, whatever. And that one woman who was like, no, I would leave my mama at the store, and she was going on and on about all the things that she would do for her man. And it was crazy because her man would not do that for her. He's not leaving his friends. He's not going to abandon his friends at their house for her. He's not going to say, look, bro, I'm about to leave and go to my girl, if they was at his friend's house chilling. So this idea that you think is cute, and all the men was bucking you up because they setting you up, like, no man who cares about you is going to want you to leave your friends stranded because he care about you, and he wouldn't want your friends to leave you stranded. So he's gonna think about the bigger picture. He's gonna be like, I wouldn't want my baby left by herself at a place, so I'm not gonna leave her friend. Like, he will be thinking about you beyond anything. Like, it's just weird how women are willing to sacrifice their themselves, their family, their friends for men, and men are mocking and laughing at us because they say we're stupid for believing them. We stupid for caring about them. We're stupid for sacrificing ourselves for them. And here we go. We don't want to shift from that. We just want to talk about it, and I think that's a problem.
No, so the conversation was that she started the conversation, and basically she was like, if my man called me, she started off by saying, I know a lot of y'all women not gonna agree with me, y'all gonna think I'm crazy or whatever, but if my man called me, it don't matter where I'm at. I could be at the grocery store with my mama, and I'm leaving my mama at the grocery store to go. Like, if my man called me and I'm at the club with my homegirls, I'm leaving my homegirls at the club. And the situation was it was like, okay, well, you're the designated driver. And she was like, bye, it's 2025. Like, I got an Uber. And I said, no, like, the only way that'd be okay is for me, is if my man gets my friends the Uber. He's like, oh, you drove your friends to the club and like come home, like, let's chill. I'm ready to woo woo bam, whatever. Like, all right, get my girls an Uber. And at first the men was like, they was like, oh no, heck no, like, that's crazy. And then when I was like, so you telling me if you hit your girl up and be like, oh, come over, like, and she at the club and she be like, I'll come over if you give my friends an Uber, you not doing it? And they was like, oh yeah, no, we doing it. And I'm like, see, the problem is, like, women think like it's cute. To me, that's a bigger flex. Like, that's more of a flex. Like, you like, okay, I'll come over, but give my friends an Uber home, whatever, or not going at all. Like, that's an option too, being like, I'll come over, but after I leave. But you being like, bye, peace out, I'm leaving y'all in the club is crazy work. Like, especially if a man gonna do it. If you tell him, okay, I'll come over, but can you get my girls an Uber after the club? He gonna do it.
The only
Like,
thing
he's
about
going
that
to.
is, it's like but that also becomes an issue because if you're outside hanging out with your friends and you prioritize spending quality time with your friends, unless it's an emergency, why
You
would that
can't
man be letting
go.
you up to
Yeah.
do anything different?
Thank you.
Like,
That's
it's like,
disrespectful.
yeah, because it's like that becomes a control thing. Because like, if I value all relationships in my life equally and I'm not censoring this man in my life, then I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to see you later. This is what I'm doing right now. The expectation would be like, oh, well, I want to spend time with you now. You will leave right now. And I think a telltale sign for women to really see like how bad it can be is reverse it. Would a man like be out and be like, all right, I'm gonna wrap this up and come home right now because you want to spend time together? Absolutely not. Like,
Even if he would, he's of course a little off though. But no, it's not. It's abusive. It's manipulative. Um, if he knew that you were out and he called you or texted you while you were out, for me, at this big old age, that's a violation, right? If you didn't know I was out and you hit me up and I told you that I'm out, anything, then I mean, sorrows. I apologize, Miss Man. Please let me get off the phone quickly. When you realize you interrupted something, those are the only two options. Not hitting me at all while I'm out, I'll reach out to you if there's an emergency and I need you. Other than that, we're not playing those games. If I've been effing with you, short of you coming home and you've been gone for 6 months and you surprised me coming in from out of town. And I'm like, "Ooh, I missed you. I want to see you. You're not asking to see me. I'm trying to see you. Great ladies, you got to go. It's an emergency." But other than some sort of emergent situation, we're dating. I'm seeing you at will when I want to. Don't interrupt anything, not just ladies' night. Don't interrupt anything. We have our set time. I know I'll see you later. We live together. I can come over there if we don't live together, after whatever I'm doing. But don't interrupt anything, not just the club with somebody else.
But that's why the internal work is so important, right? Because it's like people going to do essentially what you're allowing them to do. And although I know it's a lot of manipulation that goes into that. At the same time, like, why are you leaving? Why did you decide to leave your friends, to change the plans, to essentially like go somewhere else? And what message are you sending to your friends when you do that? Like, not that you should care. Like, again, it's about being able to move freely. Like, if you want to leave, fine, you get to leave. Like, you might want to leave and go home. You tired. This is the way I'm going to accommodate the situation. But essentially, it's like, if you're leaving because you do prioritize that man over your personal needs and wants, because I'm inclined to believe that sometimes women will leave and they don't want to leave. Like, you know what it takes to go out? You got dressed up. You made plans. Y'all had to find somewhere to park. Y'all there. Y'all have a good time. Like, and now like, oh, I'm leaving now. So like, are you doing it because you truly want to go? Or are you still trying to please another person?
Oh shit. I just seen a video of Mariah, the scientist, and that convict on the red carpet, and him pulling her. Somebody was yelling for her and she wanted to talk to him, but he flipped them off and was pulling her away, and he didn't want her to stop. And that struck something in me, because men will try to act like they're protecting you, or it's like they're covering you, when the reality is he wants to isolate her. Like, he wants her in this bubble of him. What you said, Tara?
Yeah, he has to, because if she's not like, well, one, that's one of the strategies of abuse is isolation, like, and something that a narcissist do. But he has to, so she won't realize who she is. Because if you think about it, she's like better than him. Who she is better than him. Like you said, he's a convict. She's a gorgeous young woman, no kids, right? Who has talent in the future. He has to either one, abandon her, or two, get her pregnant. But that's normally what happens.
And that's what is disgusting to me. And we have normalized we have normalized that type of abuse. But to me, it's akin to you calling the girl you talking to, a girl that you like, a girl that you date, your wife, whoever, from calling her in from a girl's night. Especially when you're out, or when men are doing men things, they don't want to be interrupted, they don't want to answer the phone, they talk about how the women's do too much. But boy, how they sabotage women and their relationships outside of them. And it be a test. I think that, again, going back to what y'all was speaking about earlier, a lot of the things that men do be tests. And if you do not pass the test, and passing it, well, I don't know if it's pass or fail. Let me not say that. But they be testing your boundaries, I should say. They see what type of woman you're going to be and how they're going to be able to handle you. So when you jump and move, when they tell you to, they don't think of you as like being loyal and dedicated. They think of you being a fool, because they wouldn't do none of that. They not gonna do none of that. So yeah, I don't know. It's women have to be able to really dig deep, and And I think a lot of women are going to be hurt if they are in a relationship, because they're going to start being able to see the person you lay with is testing you on a day-to-day basis, testing your boundaries, seeing how far they can go with you. And it's very sick. So they can be in the center of your life, center
Or
of your
not,
world.
or not even testing you, because testing is such too safe of a word. He is literally grooming you.
Mm.
Correct. So you won't have any boundaries anymore. He's not going to start asking. So it starts off with him asking to see if you'll change. And at some point, he's not going to even ask. He's going to start taking liberties, because he realized you don't have no boundaries anyway. Ain't gonna be no more checking in with you. It's not gonna be no more asking. He's gonna do stuff, and you're gonna be like, "Hey, I told you I ain't want to do so and so." He gonna look at you up and down and blow it off because you've already conceded so many times. He's eroded that boundary that you've put up, and now there's nothing left to respect. He's just gonna do as he pleases. And you're gonna be fighting for your life, like, yo, why are you doing this? You ain't even say anything to me. You didn't ask me if I want to do this. Blah blah blah. You just gonna change this without asking me? Yeah, that's what I was grooming you for the whole time. And that's what they're looking for. So if you can be moved from this point, then it's not but a hop, skip, and a jump to you being fully submissive, to you being a full-on child. Like that's what they're working towards. And if you can see it early on, and you can recognize it early on, you can put some tests out there. I tell people all the time, put little tests out there to see, if I set a boundary, is he going to respect it? Just like he's testing you. And they'll, let you know really and very fast. Whatever boundary you set, my job is only to push it. I could care less about this topic. I could care less about the boundary about don't call me sweetheart. I hate it. Or what have you. No, it can be something very small, right? They're going to make sure that they run that test to see if you're going to stand on the boundary or if they can shift it and if they can move it. And after that, like I said, pretty soon it won't be a joke. They won't be asking. They're just going to start taking liberties. And that's in all areas, financially, sexually, mentally, emotionally. All those things are going to happen once the boundary is down. So just be aware.
And another way you can challenge this is like the boundary you have for the men in your life. Is it this? Are you the same with women? Because a lot of times it's like we give more grace and leeway to men because again they're put on a pedestal. So I think it's something also interesting. I'm gonna pull up the next slide. One of the things I keep hearing is, oh, if women need to descend to men, men need to descend to women. And here's the reality of it. Men don't send to women. Men also send to men. The men infatuation with women is to essentially have access to women and solidify their manhood. It's not because like they are trying to essentially their perspective is aligning with a woman. It just doesn't work that way. So some of the reasons why men are male centered because they need male validation to feel like a man. So and I spoke about this before when it comes to American Psychological Association. They have the practicing guidelines for mental health for men, boys and men. And they really I like that article because it really breaks down how like in society boys formulate this identity that's not their own, right? So essentially like, and this is young as fatherhood where like when you tell a child they're not supposed to show behaviors, and some people think, oh, I just won't say it, but it could be as subtle as like essentially like how you respond. Like there have been studies saying how like if a young girl fall and cry or something like that versus a boy, like the subconscious thought is making that you essentially give more support to the girl than the boy, right? So them learning that early on, like they don't get the their certain psychological milestones they have to reach. They're not being able to connect to themselves when it comes to their emotion, right? Because we have to understand the language. Like a baby cries for everything because it's the only way. Like if somebody has to come for you to survive. But as you gain independence, it's important that you can communicate those feelings. But like there's a spectrum of all your feelings. They're going to feel differently. And as boys are discouraged at a very young age, they learn, okay, in order to get acceptance by the group, in order for me to survive, hold on real quick, that's loud. Essentially they have to cosplay masculinity, right? They have to like be find ways to be accepted amongst the group. And out of them doing that, they don't have a real identity. So from a very young age, they're behaving as the way they see their peers behave. And the more masculine they perform, the more of these behaviors we were talking about that they like this hyper masculinity that they show, the more they get accepted, the more the high up the hierarchy they are in, the less likely they are to be bullied and things like that. So from a very young age, they have these false identities. So for their entire life, once you get past the adolescence, that's kind of like solidified in who you are. Their whole identity is tied to getting validation from other men to prove, oh, I am being shown a man. That's why men have this rhetoric of like, oh, being a real man. Because like, if I'm a real man, that's because I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And now, like, I'm like, my identity is real. It helps me feel good about myself. Because a lot of ways, like, that whole identity formation is tied to insecurity and self-esteem issues, right? In the circle of men, you're going to see homophobia and misogyny is used. Like, but before I go to that one, do y'all anybody want to comment on like how men need validation from other men?
Yeah, and also a core part of patriarchy is the anthrocentric. How we say that word again? Anthropocentrism. Am I saying it right?
Introspection?
No, androcentrism.
Oh, androcentrism.
Centrism. Okay. So that's the core part of patriarchy. I just wanted to throw that out. But yeah, like of course they need validation in everything they do, because if you perform in something, you need the people to be like, you're doing a good job, like giving you the confirmation that you're doing, that you're putting on the show that you're supposed to be putting on. So they seek other men to validate them, but they also seek other men to validate them because they have to outsource everything. They have to outsource all of their anything that's supposed to be tied to who you are, to your core. They have to outsource those emotions and feelings and the validation, because they do not have it within. If you do not know who you are, you do not have an identity, and you can't validate yourself because you don't have the security and the confidence to do that, then you have to outsource it to somebody else. So if you're performing this rigid role that is masculinity and what being a man is, you're going to ask other men to give you the little pat on your butt. That's why when they be playing football, the way they encourage each other is cupping up some ass, because that's gonna keep them going. So yeah.
But it's so scary it's so scary to think about partnering with someone and trusting them when they are completely dependent on outside and group validation from other men. That person doesn't own themselves. They don't own their own life, their own ideas. So asking a woman to follow you and you have zero, I mean, no self-awareness, you have no identity, and asking someone to follow like I'm looking at it and I'm seeing like a blank face. Like there's no face, there's no personality. You're kind of like a ghost of a human, a ghost of a person. You're a zombie. Like there's nothing on the inside. You're like a tin man. That's what it was. That's the word. Tin man is the best thing. But it is like I'm deathly afraid of following someone who's a tin man and literally has nothing but leaning on others and needs a group. It's just a scary thing because you're not dating that man. Who are you dating? You're dating all men. Doesn't that shit sound scary? That I'm dating all men, so is what the group decides, and they all have to do the same thing. Absolutely absolutely the fuck not.
And look at like the red pill rhetoric and how fast it spread, right? Like it's because like men are like the biggest conformant. Because like if this is what men are doing, this is what men are saying, then like I gotta do this, whether it's overt or covert. Like you see how fast, not that the thoughts wasn't already there for them, but like the fact that they repeat the same talking points is alarming to me how fast that spreads. I'm interested in seeing how like that shows up in women, but I think that's a prime example of how you can witness it in men. Anybody else want to comment? So I wanted to talk about like the homophobia and misogyny is used a way to stay bonded with other men. This is like I say this a lot when I talk about like how I don't feel like children are safe with men. Um, excuse me, sir. Because essentially it's like this identity part of them, they also feel like a boost in their confidence when they get to teach this rhetoric to a young boy or whatever. It makes them feel like, oh, I'm the authority now. Look at me. I'm no longer looking to others to be how to be a man. I'm teaching the youth how to be a man, and it's very problematic. Or I'm teaching young girls how they should be younger girls for a man. Because again, it's all like putting men on a pedestal. Um, and within the groups, like men bond, and we've seen it so many times with like a circle jerk, men bond through homophobia and misogyny. You said it like that. Like it's interesting how men don't actually know a lot about each other, but they can formulate a relationship in less than 5 minutes, and they got a whole rhetoric because like they know the talking point. And like, oh, you got the talking points, I got the talking points. Look at us exercising our identity as this man that was given to us. And that shit is crazy.
You know it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was just reading. Let's comment.
Oh, I thought that was Dark Horse. No, I agree. I told y'all many times. The funny thing is like, of course they bond over the being homophobic and the misogyny, but men in general will bond with each other over misogyny though. Like men are getting so far, going so far deep into this patriarchal way of thinking because of the red pill and because of how social media has allowed them to comfort each other and coddle each other. They have kind of changed the narrative to where they are weaponizing what homophobia is that they created onto women when we start acknowledging their affection and love affair with each other. So men have been allying with gay men. Like, I don't know if got like these supposed to be macho men have been allying with gay men. That's why I told y'all when I witnessed that gay man who is very flamboyant, bonding with other men, because this wasn't in a situation where it was like romantic, where they was pillow talking. They were bonding with each other, where the gay man was trying to assert himself in this like macho way, like, oh, like, you know, I gotta be honest, like she fine, and like objectifying this woman. And if y'all think about it, other women do that too. When you talk to women who are so male-centered and so big on trying to be like with the boys, the women who offer their man threesomes as a way to keep their man also try to objectify women in this way. I was trying to explain that last night. So the what I've noticed that's common and that hasn't been was the way these male-centered people, but men bond and connect over the abuse and harm of other women. So that's the one thing that's constant in my opinion.
Correct.
Ooh. Oh, and I want to read something. I saw something. Let me find it. So when I was saying that the core part of androcentrism is androcentrism is the core part of patriarchy. It lists some ways, it broke it down, it listed some ways. So in conversation, it talks about men often prioritizing other men's voices, opinion, and validation, which we touched on a little bit, even when women are present and contributing. Tara always point out how public is disengaged when the women are talking, but it's like focused when the men are talking. So I thought that was interesting. That was
You perk up.
Yeah. But
in all the ways.
Right. But in group settings, men talk over women, listen more closely to other men, and echo male ideas while ignoring the same ideas said about, earlier about women. We know that like a man will you can say what a man, you can say the same thing a man said. If a man said all of a sudden he like, all right, bro, I get what you're saying, bitch. The fuck. And they give an example, but there's plenty of examples. We know that. 2, it talks about in media and pop culture, most mainstream stories, music, movies, and sports are centered around male desire, struggles, and experience. Even in romantic films, the women's storyline is often about how she supports or inspires a man's growth. 3, friendship and brotherhood. Men often trust men more in loyalty, career, advice, and decision making. There's a deep homosocial bond where men value male friendships over romantic partnerships, but still expect women to serve them emotionally, which is definitely true. A man, if they give an example, a man will disrespect his girlfriend in front of his male friends to prove loyalty to them, but never in reverse. At work, in leadership, men mentor other men, promote other men, and create old boys club where women are excluded or seen as intruders. They center each other in power networks, which keeps leadership overwhelmingly male. In justice, y'all know I'm always gonna love the justice part and the criminal justice part in element in anything, because to me it is, I mean, it just shows it all to me. But it talks about when men hurt others, rape, abuse, murder. Society often centers his pain, potential, or future rather than the harm he caused, and that's so true. Men get I said this the other day. Women have to be perfect victims. Like they can't even have stepped on somebody's shoe in 3rd grade. If they coming out with a story about them being DV'd or raped. But men can do the raping, the DVing, the unaliving, and people will say, oh, well, his mom's cat scratched him at 4 years old, and that made him feel a way about felines, and felines is similar to feminine, so that's why he hates women. Like, they will go to that extreme to justify why they just unalive and raped women and children. And we're supposed to be able to say, well, if they just had love and somebody who cared for them, they would have the potential to be better. So let's not focus on the past. Let's focus on the future. So men get that benefit. And that's why we spend so much time saving these horrible people. But it says judges, media, and public often express sympathy for the male offender before the female victim, which is true. We know that. And then 6 is male accountability. Men often protect each other from consequences, especially when it comes to harming women. Bros before hoes, don't snitch. He's a good dude deep down inside. All are male-centered codes that shield men from being held accountable. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it is this rigid performance where they are policing each other. And that's where the homo jokes come in. That's where the ostracizing of certain men. That's where, oh, you a panderer, you a simp comments come in. But even with that, they will still come back around and protect the men, because they have to protect all men, because they don't want to shake up this idea that the male image holds. They don't want to shake that up, so they're gonna protect all men, even if they don't necessarily agree with them, even though they're gonna hold each other to this rigid idea of what being a man is. So yep, and that's it. That was it.
Thank you.
I agree with you. Thank you for breaking that down like that. The man code is crazy, and I think it's interesting. Like, one of the things that's helped women kind of like come out of this mindset is not other women. Like, a lot of the reason like we are able to like deconstruct is not because we heard other women say things. That's the honest part of it. It's because you saw a man and misbehaving online and saying some shit that didn't sit right with you. So like, as men try to find community sharing this like problematic dogma, guess what? Like, you're witnessing in real time, and it kind of like disrupt that whole programming that you had. So like, Yeah, I think that's really important for us to understand. Like, I think once you get out of that mindset, then yeah, you can have community and talk to women. But it's not a woman who disrupted for you. It's usually a man. So
I'm so sorry about that. Ooh, let me apologize to me and anyone that I dismissed or minimized. Whoa, that was a heavy one.
That's why we can't tell each other nothing sometimes. It took them having to do all that.
I hope somebody forgive me. I forgive y'all.
I know, right?
I'm gonna do this last time, y'all. It's been a while, damn. So deconstructing male sentiments, right? First thing is, what would you do if men weren't watching? This is something you need to think about and process because, like, a lot of places, like, we know men are going to be there, whether consciously or subconsciously, and like we're shaping our behavior because of it. A man is present, and now you're performing a little different. You're not as like you're allowing yourself to take a back seat while he just like kind of take this leadership role. Like you're dressing a certain way, you're being quiet when you should have spoke up. Like, how do you? If there was no man watching, how would it be different for you? And a lot of women say, hey, oh, if it wasn't a man here, like I let my ticket fling in the wind or something like that. And it's like, that's important for you to realize how ingrained it is in the way you think about it, right? You're essentially trying to rebuild your identity without male validation. One of the things I think is essential is trying to reject male validation in real time. If a man give you a compliment and like I didn't just do nothing for you. Give me a compliment. Don't do that. Don't try to validate me. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Like, and it may have to come out that way for me anyway, because like it's important that like I realized like I was essentially groomed by society to like value what this man is saying to me to the point where it's starting to like I'm formulating who I am around it. No, I don't want your validation. I reject it. Like I said, male validation is very dangerous for women. If you are ever in a group surrounded by men and they high fiving you and telling you like you saying the right things, you are basically an alliance. Then why the fuck is these men agreeing with you, right? Something ain't right about that. Letting go of the fantasy and choosing reality. Lynn was talking about destination anxiety, essentially like this whole idea that like, oh, I'm gonna get married and we're gonna have this picture perfect life, or like I'm gonna finally hit this career. It's like we are conditioned to also always live in the future and not in our present to see our reality for what it is. So, and this is essential if like you're in a relationship and it's like, oh, you know, it ain't perfect now, but we're getting there. We're working. No, where you are now is the reality of the situation. Anything you're projecting for the future, especially if it hasn't been improving yet, is a fantasy in your mind. And the last thing was practicing collective care over romantic centering. I'm gonna circle back to this one at the comment on the first two.
I agree.
I think
No, go ahead, Lynn. You ain't said shit.
I'm here listening. I think for me, like it looks differently how Tara said how she has to I don't know if you say it out loud or you do it in your head, like reject the male validation. Um, but essentially like when a man is complimenting me or a man is like agreeing with me or a man is saying anything to like validate any part of me, right? Because male validation comes in multiple forms. A way that I check myself is different from Tara because like I don't reject it. I like it, but I want to know, do I how do I feel about it? Like it always circles back to me first. Like, is this benefiting me or is it benefiting him? Like, is the validation, is he trying to get something from me and recognizing like, oh, he validated me because he wants to triangulate me. Well, like I take the validation, but I reject the triangulation. Or like he's validating me and he's trying to manipulate me, or he's trying to get me to do this, or he's trying to get me to do that. I want to extract from him, but reject whatever he wants in return. Because understanding that male validation always comes with a price. Like what are you validating me for? You know what I'm saying? I always seem to ask myself that, and I want to make sure that I feel that way about myself first and foremost. Like if you say I look good, thank you, and in my head I go, I know. Like, do I know I look good? First and foremost, absolutely. And he just in agreement with me. I don't know, y'all. Call it self-centered and you will be calling it right. You will be calling me Lynn if you call it self-centered. But at least I ain't male-centered.
But I think at the end of the day, like, I share my experiences because like it may resonate with somebody, but there's no rules to it. Because that's another thing too. Because like I'm still unpacking, I'm still deconstructing. Like, but I think like it's going to look different for different people. But I think the biggest thing is like you still continue to question yourself and like allow for critique when it's needed.
Cause I was gonna say it depends on your experience and what you can handle. Like, I think about for me, because y'all know I work in a place where there's this constant need to try to give me this fake validation, like I give a fuck about, like I give a fuck. I do not give a fuck, but they will constantly, like today they try to do a standing ovation, and I wasn't saying a motherfucking thing, not nothing, because I didn't give a fuck. And I
Like
knew
groundbreaking.
huh?
My bad.
What you
I'm
say?
being petty. I was saying groundbreaking, but go ahead.
It was they tried to make me feel like it was groundbreaking. When the whole time I was irritated and I knew it was representative in my teaching, because I was over their bad behavior. And I'm saying that because I was recognizing that within myself, I knew when they did the fake standing ovation, it's because they are trying to manipulate me. So I think that, again, I'm in an environment where these male behaviors are magnified. I think that it's always a reason to try to validate you, to see a woman and to tell her that she's too pretty not to be smiling. Is they want something. To tell a woman that she's pretty, they want something.
You want your guard down.
Yeah, like
It's supposed to disarm
yeah,
you. Yeah, compliments are meant to disarm you.
that's what it's for.
But
Because
it's
you can
also
go ahead.
somebody had to be in a position of authority to give you validation too. That's important also.
Consider the
But
source.
that's why I say it's important to
Consider
keep
the source.
yourself right. And it's important to keep yourself in the authoritarian position. And that looks like not one time. It looks like over and over again. Every time you receive a compliment, making sure in your head you like, I know, like you feel that way about yourself first and foremost, then receive the compliment. Not that the compliment make you happy, because like if you didn't get the compliment, now you just like destitute and sad and you don't believe that way about yourself without the man telling you. You get what I'm saying? Am I explaining that right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I wanted to address, hey Vonda, practicing collective care over romantic censoring. A lot of times in feminist spaces, we talk about the community building. In any space where you deconstructing anything, community building is essential because, like, as you pull away from because the protection that comes with conformity, essentially, that it comes with a community. Like you get accepted by the larger group. So when you start identifying things, and if you like, okay, I reject that, or you decide to move throughout life as a person like essentially free thinking on your own, then like one of the things is you will be pushed out of certain communities, or you may feel so uncomfortable you'll leave certain communities. So like one of the great things about social media is that you can go and find your people, right? You have to like have some experience to see through the bullshit, but like you get to like find your people within the crowd. And this idea that you have to be in community with everybody who looks like you is bullshit. Like it's okay to have a community within a community within a community. You just need somebody who you can essentially bounce ideas of, and like you can continue to learn and grow things, whatever. But the reason why I think this part is essential is because like at the end of the day, we're taught to essentially prioritize a romantic relationship to the detriment of ourselves and other relationships, where like we see in relationships women tend to lose their identity, like they're pushed back with the boundaries and not prioritizing other relationships, even with family and friends, where like this person become the center of your world, like which is the ultimate goal. To protect yourself from that, it's like you can't center the romantic relationship. Not that you can't be in relationships if you want to, but like centering a romantic relationship can be a problem. Um, but at the end of the day, it's like if you're not focusing on a relationship, right, and you're working through yourself, what are you doing with your time, right? Is your mindset going to be like far as the collective of the group? Because like one of the problems in the West is that we're too individualistic. The nuclear family is individualistic. Goddamn, thinking about like capitalism, fighting to like get resources. Everything is about the independent person, even though we're a collective unit. So like I just wanted to add like one of the essential parts is that we think about identity, like do we care about the collective group? And then we see that like our personal experiences are because of the group. And are we thinking, oh, I'm good, but are we thinking about like those who come after us? Doggos, we were talking about this earlier, and I said this was a kind of you're tethering the line of like, especially with Black women doing more labor. And the idea isn't that you're doing more labor. It's like when you do things, your mindset, is it for the collective or are you thinking about just about yourself as an individual?
And I'll also bring up, I don't know which one this fits in too, but like we were talking earlier about the like men in feminist spaces, right? The quote unquote feminist men or the
Mhm.
men who are advocating for women. Deconstruction male centeredness is questioning why you get so wet, for lack of better terms, for men who are fighting for women, like that. Oh my god, I'm having like hot flashes and I'm like, my mouth is watering like one of them vampires from Sinners, like looking at these men defending and taking up for women. Oh my god, finally, I needed this all my life. I had to fight for a man to defend a woman. Like why are we doing this?
Because we abused.
Who
And
said
that's
that?
a
Me?
fantasy. Yeah, there's a fantasy too that we see in media, in TV and in movies, right? And books that we read and romance. We see that, right? And then we go outside. We go outside and get called a bitch for not stopping. We're not saying thank you when somebody holds the door open. So it's a stark contrast to what our reality has been for thousands of years. Stark difference, right? So
Yeah, but like
but
question
even
it.
if it's fake, even if it's fake, right? That's what the romance was. It's called fiction for a reason, right? So we consumed it and we knew that it was fiction because there was no way it could be reality, right? So
Mm.
if someone shows 5% of what you would want your ideal man to be and you could build him up, he would say things like this, right? He would have ideas like this. So you're speaking to a part of a woman that she thought would never be fulfilled and she would never hear a man say. So if you have that fantasy, right, then you're going to attach so strongly just to that little bit, for however short the term is, because they all fall off, they all get exposed. Enjoy your male creators as long as you can. They're all gonna fall. But for that short time, you get to experience that euphoria of this unicorn. And then you get, drop back down to earth on your head. You wake up and then you start to ascend again and try to find another creator to follow, right? Just kind of bouncing or kind of monkey branching from man to man. But you're looking for that high. You're looking for that high, and it is a high because, like Mia said, there's abuse, there's neglect, there's discardment, there's all kinds of things that happen to us on a micro level, macro level, family level. It's just
But
coming in
before
from
you
all
get to
directions.
abuse and discardment, Dark Horse, you in order to get to those stages, you you have to recognize and you have to submit to the dependency
Hmm.
of this man. You get what I'm saying? Even if it's a
Correct.
parasocial, even if it's over the internet, you have this dependency for on this man over the internet to fight your battles for you. Like
Hmm.
you like, oh, like, and I noticed it from like when we used to be in certain spaces with the women who follow public, right? We'll be like going back and forth with a man, and they will literally, you will see them in the comments saying things like, "Oh my God, where's Pub? Where's Pub? I need Pub. Like, we need Pub to come over here and like fight the battle and to say the thing." But it's like, why can't you say the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
Clock
don't
it.
have the it's projection. And a lot of time women fall into that trap in general, like even in romantic relationships. We end up projecting the qualities that we wish we had in ourselves, or the qualities
Mm-hmm.
that we do have into ourselves, onto this fantasy man, and then that causes you not to be able to break the tie with him, because you're pushing the beliefs that you wish you had. Like, you wish that you can go up there and fight the battle and say the thing to the man, so you are pushing that onto a man. Like, you're projecting that onto this man, for example, this male feminist, and you're like, "Oh my God, he's such this wonderful like Greek god because he can get up here and say the thing to this man, and I can't." When in reality, it's like, just do it.
All right.
Just do it, or recognize it for what it is, but do not pedestalize it, because you are submitting to um what did I say? The dependency of him. And that's problematic. I
Mm-hmm.
hope that makes sense, y'all. That makes sense, comments?
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see the comments. How y'all can see the comments?
Hit the word
I'm
comments.
double I'm double fisting.
That's how the men like it.
Damn, not
Nah,
you not being able to see the comments all the time. That's crazy.
nah, I got my iPad. I'm watching on my iPad, so I'm one of the viewers.
But I was trying to
Shout
say,
out to me.
I was saying it's really like the Stockholm syndrome. I explained this before when I was talking about how men who put themselves in this role where they're speaking on feminist issues and they're feminists, whenever they experience women throwing their panties at them, they need to handle it with care, because yeah, it's sickening, it's aggravating. We talking about it. We went through the other side of it, which could be the hidden pick-me's, or the fake feminist women, or the women who are using feminism as a shield. That's different. But there's a lot of women who are overly excited when they see a man who is saying the right things, because of how we are conditioned and because of how we've been abused. So when being a woman in this society, your value is based on your body. So, and your looks, and what you can, if you can make a man feel good. So sometimes women believe that their way of thanking a man is presenting themselves, giving themselves to them. And that's like a thing that happens with a lot of victims. A lot of victims who are saved by someone else will offer that person who saved them the very thing that was being taken from them, from their from the person who was preying on them. So yeah, I think that's something that we don't, a lot of people don't recognize, but I think that's a real thing. I don't know the proper term for it. I have to look it up, but I'm having trouble thinking about shit tonight. But y'all need to read my mind and know what the fuck I'm saying. That's what
Reading
y'all
your
need.
mind is crazy. That's
Y'all
why
know what I'm saying, but I know I'm right.
I believe you. Y'all, my brain's shutting down. I want to stuff my face, so I'm at to wrap it up.
All right.
If y'all can, I know me can't see the comments, but make sure y'all share your handle in the comments so people can follow y'all. Anybody want to say something before we end it? Why Yellow Chicken my live? All right, y'all. Thank y'all for coming. We'll be back with another topic. Why drink on the back up?
Yeah. And give us some feedback on if you guys like this over here on YouTube. The best way would be to
Yeah.
share and like it. If you guys can, hit a thumbs up on it once it posts. Give Tara some watch hours, help push it out so other people can see this live, and we will try to do more.
You kicked my other one out.
I ain't kicked nothing. You up there twice, ma'am. Oh, I don't know what happened to the other one. I'm glad you got something out of it. Yeah. Give y'all feedback. But I appreciate everybody. I hope y'all got something from it. The good thing about the live is they do play back. So if you missed the beginning of it, you can play it back. But good night, everybody. Thank y'all for coming up and supporting.
Okay.
All right.